As a warning to listeners, this story explicitly addresses the realities of medical assistance in dying. 2 months ago, Civil Radio brought you the story of a Fraser Valley woman who authored a petition to the federal government. Mary Jean Belanger is a disability advocate from Chilliwack, British Columbia. Her petition, which started in January, was an attempt to ask Parliament to expedite the process of creating a long-promised federal disability benefit. The benefit would be separate from the Canada Pension Plan disability benefit, for which some Canadians are eligible if they are unable to work because of a disability. The new one would serve direct monthly payments to low-income Canadians with disabilities between the ages of 18 and 64, designed to help with the rising cost of living across the country. One of Belanger's goals was that the federal bill for the benefit be brought into force early enough that it made the Liberal Party's federal budget proposal for 2024. On Tuesday, April 16th, that goal was achieved when the government announced their annual budget, and details for the rollout of the Canada Disability Benefit were included. Whether her petition had an effect or not, Belanger said, the result is far from a success. It was announced that the Canada Disability Benefit will pay those who qualify a maximum of $200 per month, and won't begin doing so until July of 2025. After waiting over 1,200 days since the benefit was first promised, many from the disability community all over Canada, Belanger included, said this news is devastating.
To say we're furious is like an understatement. I can't believe how mad people are. We're all calling on the NDP government not to support this budget. They've been very boisterous in trying to help us, and for them to support this budget is like turning their backs on us. The federal government has been lying to us for over at least 4 years for votes, the way we feel like it's been 2 elections, and now they're going to drag this out another election. A year from now, 15 months from now, they're going to start giving us another pittance of $200 a month. We believe they had no intentions of ever bringing us out of poverty. We've asked for interim support twice with petitions, and they said it would get in the way of them trying to get the Canadian Disability Benefit right. Well, they didn't get it right, and we had no interim money in the meantime. They promised to listen to the disabled people. They promised for the application to be easy. They promised to bring us out of poverty. They have broken all these promises. They haven't listened to any of the recommendations. Now they want to do the application process through the disability tax credit, which is expensive and it's very hard to get approved. And they want to start giving us $200, which isn't anywhere close to the poverty line.
As Belanger alluded, it was announced that people would be expected to qualify for the benefit via their federal disability tax credit, the application process for which, she said, is difficult and invasive enough as it is. Mike Morris is the federal MP for Kitchener Centre in Ontario. He helped Belanger table her petition in February. He's long been an advocate of disability rights, and he has kept a close watch on the development of the benefit. Back in February, he told Civil Radio he felt the delays to the rollout were, quote, a national embarrassment. Here he is even earlier, in January, advising the House of Commons about the risks of using the disability tax credit as the qualification for the eventual benefit.
Late last year, though, I began to hear from organizations that serve the disability community that the Department of Finance is considering determining eligibility through the incredibly burdensome application for the disability tax credit. When I say burdensome, I mean it's one of the most difficult government programs for a person to qualify for. It's qualified by submitting a T2201 form, a 16-page form that an applicant needs to have their doctor complete 14 pages of. First, long delays in processing applications, inconsistent knowledge of staff leading to rejections that are often viewed as arbitrary. Secondly, difficulties with the T2201 application form, including that it lacks clear instructions and criteria, which then often leads to requests for additional instructions and information, and even specific wording being required for approval. Third, that doctors, their level of knowledge with the form itself and their level of tenacity to reapply will affect the extent to which the applicant may or may not be successful. And then fourth, constant needs to reapply, including for recipients with conditions that are lifelong. As a result, there's an entire industry of disability tax credit consultants set up to charge people with disabilities simply to apply for the credit.
Morris continued, saying that such a barrier is directly opposed to the intentions laid out in the bill that made the benefit possible. By law, the benefit was meant to be easily accessible to people with disabilities. As for the $200 monthly, Morris and many other voices from the disability community speaking out online agree. It is not enough to help Canadians living in poverty, 40% of whom have a disability, out of that financial state. Belanger said the conditions of the benefit will exacerbate the number of people with disabilities living unhoused. Alternatively, she said, her peers may choose medical assistance in dying.
So the night of the budget, I had to talk a lot of people down. A lot of people are starting to talk about MAID, medical assistance in dying, for the people that don't know what that is. It's like the only humane choice that we're being given is to put a needle in our arms and be put down like an animal. I'm so disgusted by it.
Belanger said many people in the disability community won't give up on the fight for a better benefit. She's now a part of a nationwide Facebook group attempting to rally as many voices as possible. But she's worried that as it stands, many Canadians outside the disability community will write off the current budget as a satisfactory, better-than-nothing solution. Finally, Belanger added that disability and poverty affects all Canadians. Emergency and ongoing medical care costs taxpayer money, and, like her, any Canadian, at any time, can become permanently disabled.
And I gotta say, I worked full-time all my life, and I woke up one morning and I had a massive stroke. And the doctors couldn't even find why I had a stroke. There was no reason for me to have a stroke. It just happened. And this could happen to any one of your listeners at any moment. And just think, can you live on $15.35 a month? Please scream out to your politicians. This is not right.
For Civil Radio, I'm Charles Brockman. This story was made possible by the Local Journalism Initiative and the Community Radio Fund of Canada. For this story and more like it, please visit frequencynews.ca.